I guess the first thing I haven't really heard too much from you, Mike, about is like what made you join and how that came about, and what was the atmosphere like? Were your classmates joining too, or what?
Oh, well, kids our age, that so they knew a lot of the World War II veterans and different stories, and one of the games we always played was play Army and cowboys and Indians and watching a lot of John Wayne movies. So I was kind of psyched that way. And back then, you had three choices if you were a guy. You joined the military, you got drafted by the military. Oh, four choices. Went to college to be a school teacher, had a couple kids right away. That was your choices. And I didn't want to be drafted really. I thought that was something that from the Middle Ages, being a surfer or something. Tom Whiff and I went on the buddy program to join the Air Force. And I thought I'd maybe be in electronics. And when I got up there, I flunked. They said I was colorblind. So I couldn't do that. So I went over to the Marine Corps, and they sent me downtown and Rob Thomas and they just said, you're not colorblind. You just need new glasses really, really bad. So I could have went back to the Air Force, but I'd already had my mind set up for the Marines. So I joined the Marines uh, the first part of May, still was in school on the delayed program, so I didn't go in until September 1st.
What
Six,
did mom and dad think about your joining? Do you remember anything from
No,
them? Or
yeah, it was just something to do. Of course, dad was a veteran, and mom flunked her physical for the Marine Corps. Although Aunt Ruthie, they went together, and she went in. But no, I can't. Nobody really said anything. It's just something. It's like,
just a natural thing to do?
yeah,
Or
just getting a job.
Well, Aunt Ruth told the story that it was really mom's idea to go
Oh
into the
yeah,
military because there was good looking guys there.
yeah.
And Aunt Ruth didn't really want to go, but mom talked her into it. And she's the one that
made a
that was
career? Yeah.
taken, yeah, was taken into the military, and mom flunked the physical for it.
why did she flunk the physical? Any idea?
Eyes. Oh
Eyes?
no, no. She had rheumatic fever one time when she was a kid. So she had one. Her heart was funny, or had a hiccup in it
Oh,
or something. I don't know.
So
so go ahead, Dennis.
I I got not a Facebook thing from Brian, I think. Fuck Zoom, I'm out of here. Brian.
Yeah, sounds like our brother.
Yeah.
Okay, well, at least I don't have to worry about it.
Text it back that Sheila will teach him all about Zoom when he gets to her place. Come soon.
Or your place.
No, no, no. No, no, no. I tried.
I'm not going to try.
So you got into boot camp. What was your boot camp experience like?
A lot of people hated it. I thought it was like a Boy Scout summer camp. I enjoyed it. Fed you real good. I went in there 170 pounds, and 2.5 months later, when I came home, I was 205. Oh, solid Marine muscle.
Were you like working out? A lot of physical activity every day,
Oh
like
yeah, keep me
show?
busy. Had a lot of food, so you
Full,
must.
full metal jacket, right?
Yeah, no, I wasn't like that. But there's guys just hated it. Some guys uh try to be bedwetters. They pee their bed, and then they get a doctor and no, you peed on your own. Or they said that if you're gay, you could get out. And suppose the story went, if I can't, I'm gay. I can't hardly handle this. So they'd put him in the brig, and suppose they'd hire a gay person from downtown to be a cellmate. And I'm not gay. I'm not gay.
You're making that up.
No, no, that was a story.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's true or not, but
I I did send you brownies when you were in boot camp.
yeah, yeah. If you got food, Most of the time they just say eat it, you know. But usually the DI would get rid of it, so everybody storm in and grab cookies. And Grandma had the best, Grandma Hartley. She had, so everybody just munched down seriously on it. No, but you weren't supposed to have food. And then
no donuts in the Foot Locker.
no.
Sheila, do you remember when he went away to Vietnam or went off to boot camp or?
Well, the thing that I remember very vividly is when he was shot over there, and the Marine Corps sent 2 officers to Weeping Water to tell the folks.
Yeah.
Because Julie and I were headed to town. We were on the old bridge, and this military car pulls up and asks us where Arthur Fitzpatrick lived. And I thought, what do they want my grandpa for, And so we told him where grandpa lived. Well, because, Dad never went by Arthur. He always went by Neil. I didn't really even put 2 and 2 together. I was just a kid, And we went to Julie and I, they took off then, and we went on into town, and we were probably there for at least a half hour or an hour before we headed back home. And the car's parked out in front of our house, and the guys are still in it. And they waited till I got into the house and came up and knocked on the door. And I think that's probably when Dad was working at Western Electric on the night shift, because he was sleeping. And they came and walked up to the door right after, because I watched them. I thought, what the hell? And they came up to the door and knocked on the door and asked for my parents. And I said, well, my mom's not here. My dad's sleeping. And they said, well, could you wake him up? And I thought, what's happened? This seems a little fishy here. And so, I woke up Dad. I says, there's some guys out here. I don't know what they're here for, but they're saying they need to talk to you, that it's important. And then I was back in the kitchen kind of looking through looking around the corner.
They were like in full dress uniform? Or?
Oh, yeah, the whole bit, the whole bit, yeah.
I thought they only did that when you died.
Well, I don't know. I guess they usually, I've heard they come in 3s when you die, because they send a minister with them, So, that, and I remember our dad saying, oh God, your mother's just going to be crushed. I better just wait till she gets home, because she was working in Lincoln at the time, And I remember her falling to her knees, and Dad saying, well, he's on a hospital ship and they say he's going to be okay, But that's still vividly burnt in my mind, just the whole thing.
Well, they asked me, should we tell your folks? Yeah, go ahead. I didn't know they could make a big thing out about it. I just give, your son is shot, but he's okay.
And for Weeping Water, it's a big thing to see a Marine Corps car, any car that was from out of town, that was always, everybody in town knew it was there, so it was a big deal. I was surprised that they, like I said, they had to have waited probably for an hour or so while we were down doing teenage things, shit. We could have been there all day.
So what happened after boot camp? You came home for a while, Mike?
Yeah, I came home. It's Christmas time. And I remember you could get extra leave if you recruited somebody. So I put an ad in the paper. So I get 5 extra days, so I'll be home at Christmas. Well, and then when I got back to my boot camp orders, I was going to be a Remington Raider, office clerk at the air base in Da Nang. Real cushy duty. And I know if the fact that I was late, they changed my orders and sent me to to be a grunt, a rifleman, into North Carolina. So I don't know if I hadn't got those 5 days, my whole world may have been different. I don't know. But
the late was something that you negotiated, right? Or you weren't actually late in an official way, were you?
no, the recruiter gave me 5 extra days on orders.
Uh-huh.
So, and that maybe then my school
Just
started already, and they said,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
or cousin Billy might have said, no, Mike didn't want to be a remington. He wants to be a grunt. And then when I came back from Vietnam, I got stationed in intelligence G3, and I was wondering if Billy had something to do with that, because that's what he was in. And I don't know, I wasn't very good at our colonel. Every typing had to be perfect. Couldn't have any erasers on it. So you get a whole page and make one mistake, you have to start all over. My fingers were all cramped up all the time for typing, and I didn't have a clearance. So they just said, okay, you're in charge of all unclassified stuff. So I just had my own, I put it here and there, the date, who it was from. I had a couple of big, 4 filing cabinets, 4 doors in it. And then I got out early. The Marines didn't have enough people in Vietnam, and they couldn't send you twice on one enlistment. So they said, if you got less than a year and you've been in Vietnam, you could get out. And a mistake, I said, oh, okay, I'm getting out. I got out on April Fool's Day and got home. But I had everything in Southern California. I had a lot of contacts, a lot of friends, and it was fun. I spent the summer of love in California instead of working in Kerfords all summer long. Okay, moving right along.
Oh, you were saying that was what you should have done, or what you did. You didn't have did you have a summer of fun in California, or you missed
No,
out? You missed
I got
out
out
on.
early and went working Kerfords all,
Uh,
working 7 days a week, and Sunday we only worked 8 hours instead of until the job was through. So,
well, I guess moving back to boot camp, you did some sort of like training school after that, or
yeah, just that all Marines went through a little, infantry training school. And if you're going to be in the infantry, it was like twice as long. So I went to the short course and then became one.
so here's that. It reminded me of that Weeping Water clipping. During his more than 200 hours of training, he learned about weapons and combat techniques from combat veteran instructors. They taught him how to do patrols, detect and remove mines, and booby traps, and use the standard weapons. He'll get 4 more weeks of specialist training. Does that sound right? Do you know how to take care of booby traps and landmines?
Oh, kind of. Usually landmines were you'd take your knife and poke in the ground until you hit something metal.
Oh.
And then somebody else took care of that, or they just blew it up in place.
Those are all like pressure sensitive that
Oh, yeah, I usually had something you step on, and
step on.
most of them were called bouncing betties, where they'd shoot a rocket off and it'd come like 4 feet up in the air and then explode. So it wouldn't just blow your feet off.
Didn't use goats.
What?
Didn't have goats back then, huh?
No.
That's what they use now.
Yeah.
Clear the field goats.
So